Hare Krishna. How are you doing, Prabhu?
Think there might be more. Hello.
Hello, now I can listen to
Are
you.
you
Yeah.
there? Yeah.
Hey, Banu, welcome. Hare Krishna. Hey, Kala, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So last week we stopped at the part 5 of the book. Let me share the screen here. I don't know if someone has any thought to share before of some previous study or something like this.
I just want to let everyone know I'll only be on the call for about 20 minutes today. I'm heading to the temple to go listen to a class that Sundar Chaitanya Goswami is giving tonight. So I'll be here for 20 minutes or so.
Okay, no problem. For some reason, I'm not finding the Kindle here. Just a second, please, everyone. Okay, here it is. Who would like to read? We stop at this pink paragraph.
I can start.
Thank you.
Indeed, the ability to feel gratitude and to reciprocate lifts us above abject savagery. By sincere offering, one escapes the blindest form of egotism. One escapes the tiny prison of self-centeredness, realizing that something or someone in the universe is greater than and provides for us. But how does a primeval, innate, ubiquitous right free one from karma? Is this merely a faith claim? Can anyone simply offer anything to any power, real or imagined, and get free from karma? Is it that easy? Not really. Just look at history. Even murderous tyrants often made mystical or magical offerings. They certainly are not liberated souls. Only a truly spiritual offering dissolves one's karma. But most people perform yajna as they perform all other acts, immersed in nature's modes. The Gita presents a sweeping hierarchy of offerings ranging from dark and demonic to divine and liberating. Let us review that hierarchy, for we will thus behold in clear colors the scale of consciousness and of life itself. Although Krishna urges us to transcend this world by spiritual yajna, he also explains worldly yajna to help the reader become a good comparison shopper. Thus, the Gita presents the function, variety, and limits of mundane offerings. Should I just keep reading?
Would you like to comment some point?
Um, Something struck me in one of the previous paragraphs that I was hearing recently that like everyone's already performing yajna either way. In the way that you either give downwards or you give upwards, to people you want to impress or to earn favor with or something like that. You offer sacrifice, and to those below you, like certain family members, people in need of assistance, you offer charity, and it's just yajna down. So we're already constantly engaged in yajna already. It's just directing that towards Krishna, I guess, is instrumental. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because we know that there is different types of offerings, but also they're not in the same level, right? I mean, you can offer, sure, whatever you can to Krishna, your time, your abilities, money to help to finance a project in Krishna consciousness. But there is different levels, and these different levels are the motivations that we carry when we are trying to offer something, which is a product from material nature, right? Um, does anyone else would like to comment something?
We disappeared for a minute. My iPad overheated and I had to move into the shade.
Oh, we noted. We noted that you, yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I'm in the shade. Okay,
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Would you
Krishna.
like to continue reading?
Actually, it's kind of I'm in an awkward position. I'd rather just where are we? But how? But how does it? Is that the paragraph we're on? Where are we?
No, we are in, there's a cycle.
Okay, thus the cycle is made to turn.
Yeah.
The cycle of receiving and giving back. If we do not keep the cycle turning, if we take but do not give back, then our heedless self-indulgence and ingratitude offends the natural order. If we live in vain as thieves, we live in vain as thieves. On the other hand, if we eat after first offering, we free ourselves from all sin. Of course, most people today, though they accept the general principle of reciprocity, neither believing nor offering to the gods, is Krishna's talk of gods a bit of ancient myth mixed with another wise, enlightening treatise? Should we sanitize such talk of gods with symbolic interpretations? Before doing so, let us consider the gods really who, excuse me, before doing so, let us consider who the gods really are in the Bhagavad-gita. Otherwise, for the modern reason, the terms gods may conjure images of cartoonish ancient pantheons or pagan challenges to monotheism.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you like to comment something about these paragraphs that you've read?
No.
I was just listening to a talk on YouTube that Acharya Dev had given recently, and he was talking about this verse 316, and he really emphasized the point that the word chakram is used there for cycle, and so it's translated as cycle, but it's literally just talking about a wheel, that spins in this kind of system where like, the demigods give us rain and then we make food and then we offer that back. and it's just like the natural order of the universe, in this wheel. And he was saying that it equated to not participating in that exchange is basically shoplifting. Like society, we have these rules set up. Like if you want groceries, you go into the store, you pick out what you want, but then you have to make that offering in return. Like that's just how grocery stores work. And you're not forced to do that. But if you don't do that, then other rules in society will will come to the correct the fact that you didn't make an offering in return. Um, yeah, I really liked how he explained it literally as chakram, like it's a wheel. It's a
Yeah, true. It's very interesting this that you've mentioned it, because when you go to the house of someone, when someone invites us to have dinner, whatever, we don't need to, but generally we ask, right? Would you like me to bring something, or what I can bring, or we just buy something, flowers, a juice, whatever, and bring to share, because it's not that you need to, but at the same time, it's weird if you don't do
Yeah,
it.
it's just part of being like a sane human being. It'd be bonkers just to show up to someone's dinner party uninvited and then just start eating all the food and then just leave and not offer any thanks or
Yeah,
conversation or just goodwill. It's insane that typically that's how we go through our lives too, is I mean, I pay for my groceries at the supermarket, but every single time I'm not thinking like, oh my God, you know, thank you, Krishna, for this bountiful harvest. It's so I don't know, it's definitely a lot to think about.
yeah. I share the verse here. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Yeah, interesting. In the same way, like if you only demand something to someone and you don't give anything in exchange, this is not a balanced relationship, right? It's not a balanced friendship, because the common is both lands, right? Give and receive.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess there's also just a lot of immaturity to it too. Like when I was a kid, my grandparents they always stocked like my favorite ice cream in their freezer. And I'd go over there and know that there's ice cream in the freezer. It's been bought for me. It's my ice cream. And it was this big part of going over to grandma's house is I'd have a big bowl of ice cream. And I mean, I was entitled to it because it was a gift to me, but like as that 10-year-old boy, like I felt entitled to it. But to continue that mindset like into adulthood is just insane. Um, but 99% of people, you know, specifically people who aren't religious or pious in certain ways, like that's just how they go through their whole existence. As like a 5-year-old at grandma's house, like this is all mine. It's all been purchased for me, my enjoyment.
True. One of my favorite activities when I'm with my granny is do things for her to surprise her, because she was always the person that gives much more than receive. So she has a difficulty in receive acts of service or gifts. And I always stay so happy when I can try to serve her one way or another. Uh, Doing the dishes, cooking the dinner, setting the table, whatever. She stays so happy, so happy. And it's so nice because uh, for me, it's like not an obligation, but it's the basic. Is the bare minimum, you know? And she stays so happy. And this makes me so happy to see her happy, right? So as you said, as we are growing up, the common thing is that our intelligence will evolve in a way that we want to serve also, and not only being served.
Right.
Let's continue here. First, gods are not the God. Second, they carry out rational duties. They manage a big corporation called the universe. Keep in mind that the modern West still uses divine language to name rich and powerful humans. Third, these cosmic administrators are far superior to us. Hence, we cannot demand instant access to them any more than ordinary citizens can demand intimate meetings with the world's most powerful leaders. I really like this analogy.
Yeah.
We tend to think that demigods like this, right? Each demigod taking care of one different department. I really like to think this, like the universe is a big corporation. But even if one chooses to suspend contemporary oops, I'm sorry, I try again. Incredulity, one might still object to Ijagya on the grounds that God seems to be doing business instead of just loving us. Yet Krishna enjoys offerings to gods only for unmindful souls who do not care about God, but do try to enjoy his creation. Indeed, no sooner does Krishna enjoying these offerings than he adds a caveat. One who delights in self alone, satisfied in self alone, need not offer to gods. Only those who are intent on enjoying this world must pay a luxury tax on mundane pleasures. Those who find higher pleasure in soul and God and do not try to exploit his creation need not make such offerings. Yet Krishna requests that they do so anyway, so as to set a good example for the unenlightened. He even sets his own example. Indeed, when he came to this world, Krishna performed many standard duties to teach others. And we see this on the different roles that Krishna plays, right? As a son, as um, as a friend. There is all these different rasas, all these different moods. Does someone would like to continue reading?
This is the real reason for yajna. Those who seek to possess this world need to rise above the bestiality of seizing what they want with no regard for its ultimate source and proprietor. By offering back to God's agents, who rule the very world one seeks to enjoy, one awakens one's higher ethical nature. Thus, the materialist escapes the tiny prison of self-centeredness and connects to a vast, just, personal cosmic community. After all, civilization itself depends upon our capacity for justice, our willingness to respect each other, and give others their due. Karma imprisons us precisely when we try to grasp and monopolize the fruits of our own work. Why? Because in doing so we violate a universal law of civilized beings. Those who take should offer back, value for value. Only the delusionally wicked believe themselves to be independent, autonomous lords of the world. Though, as we shall see, even this select group makes a crazy kind of offering.
Oops.
Yeah, I was wondering what that verse was, what, 16? 14?
Me too. And I don't know why I clicked and went to tab. Okay, obviously, because it was the chapter. Hold on, let me see the reference again. Oop.
Yes,
16.14.
16:14. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. It sounds like, those like self-affirmation cults that, I don't know.
Yeah, but in a bad way, in a negative.
Yeah. But I don't know. There are some really well-meaning people who I think say some of these affirmations every morning, like I'm powerful and happy. You know,
If help someone to be better, a better person, and doesn't harm anyone, I particularly don't have anything against you,
yeah.
honestly. Uh, Here the translation is I kill that enemy, I will kill others still. I'm Lord, I'm the enjoyer. I'm perfect, powerful, happy. And then continues on and on and on. That's interesting.
Who else is like me?
Such a drama. By sincere offering, we learn, as science now confirms, that giving bestows more joy than taken, that generosity surpasses greed. The reciprocity that is the heart of Jaga sustains justice in our minds, societies, and civilizations. We realize that our bodies, our bound, and our lives, and the natural world that sustains all this, come as gifts from above. So the Gita teaches. At the same time, most of us are, as the saying goes, works in progress. Many emotions besides pure love and gratitude fill our hearts. Thus, regardless of their religion, be it oops, be it animistic, polytheistic, monistic, monotheistic, or secular humanist, people make mundane offerings as they do almost everything else. Under the spell of nature's three modes, we will explore the variety of mundane offerings in the Gita's own general, non-sectarian terms. Let us start at the material bottom and work our way up to final spiritual liberation. Holding the bottom rung is the wicked offering. History displays all too many villains whose atrocities cause cruel suffering to humanity and the rest of nature. In chapter 16, Krishna profiles the wicked. They claim there is no truth, only truths, no God, only competing selfish pursuits. These depraved, no, I'm sorry. These depraved individuals flourish by harming others and put the world gravely at risk. Mad with pride and presumption, they will kill anyone for their gain, for they claim to be lords of the world, rich, mighty, perfect, and happy. And that's what we see, right? A huge competition of who is better on social media. Everyone trying to play that to put themselves as superior in one way or another. These are not the kind of people you want as neighbors. Yeah, these twisted figures in mad pursuit of power make offerings, as the Gita states, and all history confirms. Krishna calls these offerings namadhyagya, offerings in name only. Stubborn and vain, the wicked offer hypocritically with no care for rules. In the next verse, Krishna adds that such sacrificers hate and envy God in their own and others' bodies. In other words, the wicked do not offer to please or honor a greater power. Rather, immersed in self-adoration, they seek greater power by ritually exploiting what they believe to be an immoral magical power source. The final goal in such offerings is to harass, enslave, and terminate other people. Harry Potter would understand this problem. I love the sense of humor of Cherdev, I have to say this. I really love.
Excuse me, can I interrupt? Is my mic on?
Yes.
Can you see me?
No.
Yeah, my screen went blank, so I'm just going to listen. I can't turn it off. I don't know what to do.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Feel free to jump in anytime you would like to
Okay.
share something, Prabhu.
Okay.
Apart from demonic offerings, the Gita describes yagas that are more conventionally corrupt by nature's three modes. Here is a triad. The offering in darkness resembles the wicked rite in that it is chaotic, faithless, without charity, and tendered to strange spirits and ghosts. But this rite has no explicitly evil intent. Passionate people tend to offer to guardian spirits and other supernatural benevolent beings. These rites display an urbane hypocrisy. One appears to give, but really seeks personal gain and fame, though again, there is no explicitly evil intent. Those dealing in dark and passionate yagas have not even seriously accepted the cosmic managers, the gods. So there is no question at this level of a profound or devoted monotheism. Those in goodness do offer to God's trusted agents, the gods, with sincere attention and without seeking any selfish return. They offer because they believe it is the right thing to do, and they follow rules given in sacred texts. In one sense, true Jagya begins here in goodness. In darkness, one offers in confusion, hardly knowing what one does. Passionate Jagya is more a shrewd investment than a devoted gift. One gives to get. This is your example with the ice cream, Banu. Because when you're a kid, we just want to receive, right? But as kids, we are not. We have no idea of how word works and all this mode. So, anyways, I was exactly like this when I was a kid, man. I think that every kid. In goodness, one at last has a sincere moral sense of offering to greater beings, of doing right for its own sake. Yet, even in goodness, one offers to gods greater than God. Thus, one still lacks full awareness of who truly deserves one's gift, and who ultimately sends the reward, which is Krishna, right? We try to please Krishna, and Krishna will send this special reward that is the relationship with him. Oh, Dina. Hey Dina, Hare Krishna, welcome. Uh, whoops. Someone would like to continue reading?
Where at?
Survey of Sanskrit.
A survey of Sanskrit words used in this context reveals how Krishna wants us to relate to his agents, the gods. We should not take final shelter of them, nor devote ourselves to them, nor swear our ultimate allegiance to them, but we should honor them in the way that we honor priests, teachers, or the wise. Indeed, honoring gods is listed along with cleanliness and honesty as part of a decent, disciplined life. So, what is the status of the yajnas described above? They all incur karma, for they all unfold within nature's modes, yielding quick but fleeting fruits. Thus, those who seek success in karma, not freedom from karma, offer to gods. Only by offering to God, not gods, in full knowledge can one be actually liberated. Even by worldly yajna, one rises to this world's heaven. Even if by worldly yajna one rises to this world's heaven, one will fall back again. Advanced spiritual yoga takes one beyond the best rewards of worldly offerings, all of which are ultimately inappropriate and do not lead to God, for they do not aim at God. They do not help us to see God. Conclusion: be careful to whom you make your offering.
It's a very
Nevertheless,
important point. Would like
uh,
to comment something?
um, I I did think about that wheel, how it seems like here it's Krishna's kind of clarifying, like if you want to participate in these material things, then you have to keep that wheel spinning, you have to actually participate. You can't just take and take and take. But for someone who's really just no longer interested in this kind of give and take relationship with material nature, then they can just kind of throw their hands up and just be done with it. Um, and just meditate on Krishna instead.
True. And someone would like to share something else? Yeah, this makes me think, um, how important it is to try to develop our relationship with Krishna, right? Because it's something so personal. And if you avoid to try to have this relationship, if you don't want to offer, if you don't want to open your heart, if you don't want to offer a glass of water, a food, your time, there is nothing.
A couple pages ago, it was mentioned that I forget the exact words used, but how like the gods in charge of this kind of bureaucratic going on, how they're so far above us, it's kind of absurd to even think that they would be aware of us in any realistic way. Um,
Was this
yeah,
part, this paragraph?
that last sentence, ordinary citizens demanding intimate meetings with the world's most powerful leaders. Um, and it sometimes it can kind of feel like even that way with Krishna, like sometimes if I, offer something to Krishna, like I feel like it's absurd that that I know Krishna says in the Gita that we shouldn't offer even like water or a leaf or something like that. But in the action of actually doing that, sometimes it feels absurd that this would like this is going to get me an audience with God. Like it's just it trying to intellectualize it. It seems insane that little old me in my little old room with my little old glass of water offering it to Krishna could actually get me this audience. And it's hard to reconcile that because it does seem absurd. I know Krishna says that that's how it works, but um,
I have a similar feeling when I think that something is not so good, is not so nice, you know? Because I always want to offer the best to Krishna, my best service, the best recipe, the best flour, whatever. And sometimes I don't, no, no, sometimes I cook something so simple. And I think I will really offer this to Krishna. Like, yes, I will, but you know, here is the thing. Krishna is not asking anything fancy, but I want to offer all of the best to Krishna only. And this is not the process. So I need to surrender and understand that, okay, I can offer what I have. Uh, if I think that my service is not the best, uh, even though I will offer what I can, instead of trying to act in a platform of perfectionism that I don't think that this is this should be offered or not, right? Because okay, we need to try to do our best, but ultimately it's Krishna who will judge, who will accept or not the offering. I don't know if I make it clear, but
yeah. Well, it reminds me of a lot of times you bring up this example from the Ramayana where, some people were building the bridge, these huge boulders, and just they're making really obvious, like significant contributions to this bridge making. And they're like an ant with a pebble or whatever the example was of the small thing. Um, but those making the big contributions, they felt like they were making big contributions, and the ones making the smaller ones, they had to have also kind of felt like it was. I was just thinking of when Sudama brought the rice to Krishna. It's just like he felt horrible with this. Like, I mean, Krishna, of course, he accepted it and he ate it all up. What was it like? A little bag of flat rice or something. It was wrapped up in like some old, like probably like piece of used dhoti or something, whatever he had around. I probably didn't wear dhotis, but just some old cloth. Um, and the whole way, I think it was described there, like he didn't feel really great going with his little offering to Krishna.
he didn't want to, right? His wife insisted so much for him to offering. And even though when he arrives at the palace, he was so shy that he didn't want to. And then Krishna asked, what is on your hand? What are you hiding? Bro, come on. What's in your bag? I want to see it.
I think he even called him a miser, like you're trying to keep all that for yourself. Um, but yeah, and so it's a lot of these examples are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, where these really exalted devotees, they actually do feel very small, and they recognize, because what can you give to Krishna? Like he has all the stuff. His whole existence is just him enjoying. Like he's already full of enjoyment already. Like what can we really give?
Yeah. And at the same time, think that we cannot offering something that it's on the level of Krishna doesn't make us advance either, right? So what to do? Avoid this mental speculation that we sometimes stay trapped and try to offer what we can, doing our best to Krishna. Let me back here. I stopped here. I don't remember where.
I guess just another thought about Sudama, like a key difference between a devotee like that and, I mean, I was thinking of myself specifically, but there's probably a lot of other people who could identify with is Sudama brought Krishna literally everything he had, which was just that little, like that was everything. And I feel like in a roundabout way, I'm actually offering Krishna my remnants. Um, because whatever I have left for offerings, like that's after I've already taken out my cut, you know, what I need for my maintenance and things I want and just little things to kind of get me through my own material life. I have a little bit left over after after I take my share to make offerings for Krishna, which probably need to work on flipping that around.
All this conversation makes me think how merciful it is, this relationship, that Krishna is so kind that he accepts whatever we can offer, because he's much more interested in cultivate this relationship with us than rather than in what we have to offer, right? That's what it says on the next paragraph here. Nevertheless, Krishna teaches that even a mundane yajna is better than no yajna at all. Even if one has no wish to serve God, one must at least pay cosmic taxes on all the natural resources we receive from God's agents. However, there are greater things available than good karma. There is actual spiritual life, a key to which is the spiritual yajna, which we will now consider. When we forget our source, and thus our own true nature, we try to exploit this world. Illusion Maya then covers our real awareness, and we imagine that we are matter, the material body. However, when we devotedly offer our However, when we devotedly offer our actions to the Supreme, we uncover real knowledge, that we are eternal parts of God. Like fallen sparks placed back in fire, we then blaze with pure knowledge and joy. It's so beautiful. I read this again if you all don't mind. However, when we devotedly offer our actions to the Supreme, we uncover real knowledge, that we are eternal parts of God. Like fallen sparks placed back in fire, we then blaze with pure knowledge and joy. Does someone would like to comment something or continue to read? I'll continue so. As we have seen, the Gita emphasizes that one should offer to God, not to gods. After all, we are eternally part of Krishna. Thus, it is natural to serve God as much as the hand naturally serves the body of which it's part. By feeding the body, the hand nourishes itself. Krishna refers to himself as the enjoyer of offerings, Jagya. In fact, the enjoyer and lord of all offerings. Failing to recognize the categorical difference between God and gods, one falls from the spiritual plane. Bhagavad-gita thus states that only an offering to the Supreme Lord keeps one on the highest spiritual plane. Krishna urges us for our highest good to offer to him. As we are saying, right, it's better offer what you can instead of not offering anything. Krishna makes clear that he needs nothing. He acts in this world to set a proper example and to establish the just rule of law, dharma. He institutes yajna, sacred offering, for that purpose, for moral and spiritual development, not to exploit us. What in the world would God possibly do with four infinitesimal offerings? That's what we are saying. Consider how most ordinary families operate. A mother teaches her children to give their father a birthday gift, which the parents themselves usually pay for. Dad then teaches the children to honor their mother's birthday. This is not parental vanity. Rather, devoted parents civilize their children by teaching them the ways of duty and love. The Supreme Parent does the same. It starts at the top. However, or whatever we choose to make an offering, Krishna governs the offering and does so from within our body. Krishna pervades this entire world, but is especially present in our hearts, from where he offers guidance, or, if we prefer, ignorance. We are like leaves that only live and flourish while joined to the tree from which they grow. By offering our work fruits to Krishna, we rejoin him and again flourish as eternal beings. By spiritual yajna, we link to all existence by linking to its source, for Krishna causes all beings to be.
I was just thinking about there's so many examples that devotees give all the time. Like specifically, like you water the root. You don't water all the individual leaves, you water the root. And sometimes you can think like, yeah, that's a pretty nice example, or a way of looking at it, but it's it's actually just literally how it is. It's not a metaphor or like a way of looking at it. It's like Krishna is our source. And I don't know. I was just thinking how a lot of these examples when taken literally can be really, really powerful. Um
Yeah. Before Krishna consciousness, I didn't heard these examples before. And now after a few years, they look so logical. So logical. But even though we still need to, I still need to realize so many things to understand my position in the universe. Um, Pure souls, right?
yes.
Thank you. Pure souls devote all their acts to the Supreme and thus fully dissolve karma, transcending a world replete with karmic censors and fetters. One then acts not as lord of the world, but as devoted instrument of the Supreme Will, spiritualizing soul and body. This is possible because matter and spirit are Krishna's inferior and superior energies. Everything flows from Krishna. He is the source of all. Being thus part of God, matter and spirit have an original spiritual nature that manifests in direct contact with their source, Krishna. Yajna for this transformative link. To illustrate this process, ancient teachers cite the example of spark and fire. A spark springs from fire and thus burns and glows like fire. But when a spark falls out of the fire, the spark loses its fire nature. Returning to fire, the spark again blazes. Souls are like sparks. God is the original fire. Linked to God, yoga, we manifest our godly nature. Falling away from God, our godly nature vanishes until we again link to our source. Even material objects like food or body act spiritually when offered to God in devotion. That's it, I think. Oops. There's a little bit more. Does someone like to continue reading?
Um, I think I'm the only one with the working screen. I'll read.
Thank you, Mana.
Um, Krishna explicitly describes the transformative power of yajna using the classical language of offering. Throughout the ancient world, people offered oblations to sacred fire, thus linking to divine power, however conceived. Krishna uses the term oblation and fire literally and symbolically to describe the transformative power of offering. Here, Krishna deploys the key word Brahman. Vedic literature often uses the term Brahman to indicate the absolute, universal spirit, the eternal ground of all existence, or the individual spiritual self, the Atman. Thus, Krishna states that in a spiritual offering, an offering to Brahman, the offered object, the oblation, is also Brahman. Further, it is Brahman fire that accepts the Brahman offering, and the person who offers is also Brahman. Thus, by full focus, samadhi on Brahman action, the offering soul surely achieves Brahman. By itself, this somewhat cryptic verse might lead one to some sort of monistic conclusion. After all, everything is the same thing, Brahman. Further, the word Brahman here is neither masculine nor feminine, but is grammatically neuter, a type of it. Thus, one might assume that the one, Brahman, is impersonal. However, when we place verse 424 in the context of the entire Bhagavad-gita, a very different portrait emerges of Brahman and its relation to Krishna. God and soul are both Brahman, as stated in 424, but Krishna is the supreme Brahman. Moreover, ordinary Brahman, not supreme Brahman, rests on Krishna. I feel like I want to look at this verse real quick.
Yeah. Would like to share the screen? I can put you as co-host here.
Oh, I still don't know how to do that.
Ah, okay, no problem.
I could read it though. It's
Yeah, please.
is it 424? A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute, and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature.
Yeah, similar but different, right?
I was thinking during the past couple paragraphs about how the spiritual world is self-effulgent and the material world, it requires different luminaries. Like I have a light in my room, we have the sun and the moon and all this stuff. It just requires another source of light. But in the spiritual world, um, it's just self-lit. And it sounds kind of phenomenal to think of that other place where everything is self-effulgent. But when we perform devotional service, we enter the spiritual world. Um, and thinking about this verse in that light, so to speak, it kind of changes it for me a little bit. It can sound really impersonal when everything is just like, oh, this is Brahman and that's Brahman, and the priest becomes Brahman, and the thing being sacrificed, it's all just Brahman. But I don't know, it seems different in my mind when viewed in that sense, that anytime we perform devotional service, we're immediately transported to the spiritual world. where everything is self-illuminating, you know. And to our material eyes, it can look like it's all the same, like no big changes taking place. But I guess that's just because we're so accustomed to using our spiritual eyes. Um, when in fact, when we're worshiping Krishna, we're not in the material world anymore. Um, it's just like by force of habit, I still attribute all these things to matter. Um, but the spiritual world's in or the material world's in a faraway place. You know, when we're talking about Krishna or worshiping Krishna or remembering him, the material world is just it's gone. It's not there anymore.
It all depends on the lens that we are trying to see the world, right? So if you're in the mood in the Sattva Guna, we'll be able to see that there is no difference. We'll be able to understand how close this can be. But if you try to rationalize, as you said before, it's difficult. Um,
Would you like me to read further?
oh, please. Thank you, Banu. So Brahmans.
Arjuna, are we at? Arjuna further clarifies the matter in chapter 8, where he directly asks Krishna, "What is that Brahman?" Krishna replies, "Brahman is the supreme imperishable. Its nature is higher self. So Brahman's first characteristic is that it never perishes, sets it apart from all material objects, which all perish in time. Ephemeral items never endure, and eternal things never perish. Further, Brahman has svabhav, a personal nature, as adhyatman, higher self. Here a theological pattern emerges that pervades the Gita, as we will see in the next section. This pattern displays two fundamental concepts. God and souls are one. In this case, they are both Brahman, but God is still greater, being the supreme Brahman. God and soul are ultimately personal. Krishna explicitly defines Brahman's nature as higher self, not as a state in which self dissolves into eternal impersonality. The Gita indicates in other ways that apparently impersonal language ultimately refers to the personal Krishna. Even in English, we may describe a person with apparently impersonal terms like a force to be reckoned with, a veritable institution, the team's anchor, etc. One can also describe a personal God in English with impersonal attributes. God is truth. Truth is not a gendered word. God is my rock and foundation. God is my path, etc. Similarly, apart from Brahman references, Krishna refers to himself in the neuter as Gyayam, the knowable, in 6 verses. Here, too, context makes it clear that the neuter knowable is a person. For example, its hands and feet are everywhere. Everywhere. Its eyes, heads, mouths. It hears everywhere in the world and remains covering all. So although verse 424 identifies various offering components with Brahman, fire, oblation, the offering act, etc., Krishna later revisits these same components, stating that he, Krishna, is actually all these things. Thus, Krishna is the offering, the mantra, the oblation, the fire, etc. You want to just finish the chapter? I know it's kind of late.
Yeah, we pass a little bit our time, but I think we can finish. I don't know, Krishnananda and Dina, what do you think?
Fine.
I will read quickly.
Thank you.
I will show rather elaborately in the next section why and how Krishna identifies himself with material objects like fire and butter. In the meantime, consider Krishna's use of the word arpanam, offering. It is this word that starts us off at 424, where Krishna speaks of a Brahman offering, Brahma Arpanam. Krishna brings back this word Arpanam at 927, where he declares, whatever you do, eat, offer, or gift, make it an offering to me. Thus, the offering to Brahman turns out to be an offering to Krishna. This is not monism. God and soul are distinct. The soul worships, God is worshipped. To grasp this central topic of the Gita, the nature of God and God's relationship with souls, we will go deep into the Gita's original Sanskrit language, which I will translate for the reader in the most simple, direct, literal sense of each word. Few are fluent in Sanskrit, and my intention is to do all I can to bring the reader as close as possible to the original text. Those who prefer highly esoteric, non-literal renderings of words should at least know what they are rendering, lest they render the words senseless. After all, if anything can mean anything, everything ultimately means nothing. Some people may find this thought encouraging, but we can hardly count Krishna among them. Let us then carefully consider the nature of God in God's song, the Bhagavad-gita.
That's it.
I was thinking about I always forget the actual verse. It's when Prahlad is describing the nine processes of devotional service. Um, and it's I like envisioning all of those things as actually doing service, like even remembering Krishna or thinking about him, talking about him amongst other devotees, chanting, like those are actually services to the absolute, not just things we like doing, but it is actually devotional service.
I I will share here for us on the nectar of instruction. Uh, I'm trying to remember the correct metric to say this in Sanskrit, but I won't remember right now. Sorry. The nine processes of devotional service are as follows. Hearing the name and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 2. Chanting his glories. 3. Remembering the Lord. 4. Serving the Lord's feet. Padasevanam. 5. Worshipping the deity. Arkanam. 6. Offering obeisance unto the Lord. 7. Acting as the Lord's servant. 8. Making friends with the Lord. 9. Surrendering oneself fully to the Lord. Wow. Shravanam or hearing is the first step in acquiring transcendental knowledge. One should not give oral reception to unauthorized persons, but should approach the proper person as recommended in Bhagavad-gita. Chapter 4, verse 34. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they haven't seen the truth. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you all. As we wrap up, someone would like to do some final consideration, any thoughts?
I was specifically thinking about, I think about it a lot, but that the pastime where Lord Brahma, he stole all the boys, and Krishna had kind of just kept this charade going on for a year anyway. Um, and when Lord Brahma came back a year later and he saw all the boys were still playing there with Krishna, and he was just so bewildered. And he saw this form of Krishna where every single cowherd boy, I forget exactly how it was described, but every single cowherd boy became like Narayan, and every single one had a whole universe worshiping him. So he didn't just see Krishna there. All of a sudden, he saw unlimited Krishnas, and then he saw unlimited universes, all worshiping each one of those Krishnas. And in that way, even the boggling of the mind of Lord Brahma, his thinking of Krishna, his seeing Krishna in that light, even that was like devotional service. Um, and then when we hear these pastimes, and then our minds become boggled too, that's also devotional service, and it's all just everyone looking at Krishna and going like, "Wow!" So I don't know. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Ki Jai. I'm not sure if I remember this one. So if at some point you find it,
I
uh,
think I think the chapter is called the Song of Brahma or something. It's in the 10th canto. But yeah, it's good. His Lord Brahma just had his mind completely blown by just all the opulences of God just right in front of him. And I don't know. It's even that was devotional service, just being able to see, and then he sang this song, and then we can all remember it, and it's a really nice process. I like it.
so special. Yeah, I finished the ninth canto this year. I need to start the 10th canto, but with two book clubs simultaneously, I won't be able to do it right now, but I do want to, and I'm super enjoying this book club that we are studying the comprehensive guide of Bhagavad-gita and the book club of Krishna Was Gainseo. So yeah, that's it. Thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a great week. I'll try to upload the recording soon and keep you all posted about what chapter or part we will study next week. If someone has any suggestion, let me know.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.